Hi, I'm Steve Piscitelli and sculptor. Been a sculptor for 40 years. I've been teaching here at the Art and History Museum at Maitland for 14 years. I teach on Saturdays. I'm a volunteer instructor. I teach figure sculpture, and the reason I got into it is 44 years ago, I was blown up in Vietnam. And when I came home, we weren't treated well, veterans. And we didn't have a monument, we didn't have a parade. And I thought, before I died, I'm going to build a monument to what happened in Vietnam. Now, I submitted several ideas, but I didn't have a working model. I didn't have something that people could see. I had it in my mind. So I made a wax maquette. This was wax, it's now bronze. And submitted it to several cities for consideration as a monument. But most of the cities wanted something positive looking. Flowers, trees, bushes, flat walls. It did not want to capture what I saw over there. So I did my own. I built this statue here, is Vietnam War Memorial. I did it because I saw a statue in Washington, D.C. of 3 men, all facing one way, holding a minimum amount of weapons, and that was not what it was like over there. We didn't stand up, you get shot that way. So I made it representative of how we would be seen if you had just stumbled upon a patrol in Vietnam. This is what you would have seen. Men facing in each direction, because we were always out there in enemy territory. We would carry everything we needed. So each of these items that you see here, the pop flares, canteens, knives, bayonets, each rifle, this is a rocket, entrenching tool, a mortar round, grenade launcher, bag full of grenades. These are things I carried, all of these weapons in 9 months. In that 9 months, I was wounded 3 times and got malaria. So when I came home, I couldn't just push the experience of Vietnam out. It didn't work. So I started recreating it, but I didn't show people my early work. I would draw pictures of combat and destroy them. I'd make statues and then recycle them. Not many people knew what I was doing, but a dozen years later, I was diagnosed with combat fatigue. Delayed. Now they call it PTSD. So I decided before I do anything else, I'm going to do a monument. I went back to school, University of Massachusetts, and brought this with me and cast it in bronze. So this is my first casting. I cast each of these solid, which is why it's so heavy. And then showed it to the town of Bristol Township, Pennsylvania. They were impressed, but they couldn't afford it. So I reduced the 3 figures to 2, and I had my first major commission. And so Bristol Township has one of my monuments. I designed these beaten up old boots to be used for a monument that the ashes of the veterans can go inside. There are holes in the bottom. That is so rain will come and keep leaching the ashes into the soil, so more veterans can put their ashes in it. So the place will become kind of like a holy place through this. Now, the boots will be patinaed. This is the basic shape. If you were in World War II or Korea, you would want these boots, or early Vietnam. Later Vietnam, I would put lines in it, and they would be jungle boots. If you were in the Persian Gulf or Afghanistan, again, they would change, but that's easy to do. So if people want these, they'd be available. But bronze is pretty expensive to do. Something like this is about $5,000 to make. That's just the cost of casting it. And not many people want to spend that much. And then you have to pay for labor. Now, I've done a lot of combat art, and to balance it, because I can't keep doing it, it's very depressing. It's a terrible memory of a terrible time. So I balance it by doing ballet, dancers. It's a yin and a yang, where I'll take a model. This model was an aerialist. Not finished yet. I still have a lot of grinding to do, polishing and mounting. So next to these men, you'll see a completely different subject, different tone, and different technique. This is coarser, and this will be more refined.